Hello, everybody. I am back. We just finished, if you're tuning into these in order, I had just finished the Learn to Code 1 series in Swift Playgrounds, and I was just looking at some of the other games. I wanted to kind of take a break from the learning things and see, are there some other games and some other challenges that we can do based on the stuff we know so far. And I found one that's really cool. It's called Cipher. It is kind of based on cryptography or ways of making code. And so, without further ado, let's just dive right in and take a look. So it kind of sets the scene here. It says it's warm and quiet in the library, a welcome relief from a howling snowstorm outside. So you take off your snow gear, head over to a reference computer, and you search for cryptography. Some teacher mentioned it this morning in a class, and you want to check it out. So you write down a few book references and you go and find a book called The History of Cryptography. It says take a peek inside, open book. And it actually gives us a command, open book. So easy peasy, let's go ahead and run that. And I like how this kind of takes us into this challenge or this mystery. Kind of exciting. So it gives us a history of cryptography, where the name came from, and it's all about hiding a message. And it's been used throughout wars. I love reading spy books from the Revolutionary War and World War II, and so this is just right up my alley. But they talk a little bit about what ciphers look like. So it says even the Roman general Julius Caesar was famous for using a substitution cipher with a shift of 3 to keep his important messages secret. So pretty interesting, pretty cool. Let's click to the next page. It says you sit on the floor, immersed in the reading. Other people walk past you. No one disturbs you. You start looking at transposition ciphers, steganography, and then it says turning to substitution ciphers. You find a small folded up piece of notebook paper. So all they want us to do is read that paper. Let's hit run my code, like the comment says here, and then let's click it. All right, it says, whoa, a note, and it looks like it's written in code. Who left it? Were you supposed to find it? If you can decrypt it, maybe you can find out. We'll go to the next page. What kind of code is it? Well, you found it in the substitution cipher chapter, so maybe that's what it is. But how will you decrypt the message if you don't know if you don't know the shift value? Open your backpack. Just remembered your teacher gave you a list of cryptology websites. Maybe one of those will help. So we go there and it says, before you tackle decrypting the entire ciphertext, try some basic shifting to see how it works. Choose a word to encrypt. Try your name. I'm going to type in Goldwater. And then choose a shift count. So let's say 11. That way we're shifting several times. And so then this function, shift word by shift count, is going to shift all of the letters in my last name. So let's check it out. The first shift, Goldwater. Second shift, it moves everything over. So a G is now an H, an O is now a P. As we keep going, it gets more and more shifty. So by the end, that would be a 8 shift. And then they say, well, you can continue. They don't want to list them all out. An 11 shifts of Goldwater ends up being this right here. Not readable. Really cool way to just hide a message. Let's click next page. Now that we've practiced on one word, let's figure out what the message says. And it says, one of the pages you skimmed in cryptography talked about brute force, a type of attack where you try every possible combination or option. So we could try every shift we need and see if that works for us. And it says, a similar strategy might work for this message. Even if you try every possible shift, one of them has to be right. You have the shifting function from before and all the Swift operators at your disposal. Remember, you're decrypting now, so instead of the letters shifting forward, like encrypting, they'll shift backwards. Figure out how many times you need to call the shift function to check every possibility. How many letters are in the alphabet? Do you need to shift by 0 or 26? Write the code to call the shift function as many times as you need to. What structure helps you do something repetitively? We know that for loops are great for this. Let's just do that. That's every letter in the alphabet. open up our block here, and it says write to shift as many times as you need. So let's shift the word, and our word in number 3 here, it says is ciphertext. So we're going to put that in, and then our int, because we're looping through this, our variable here is I. So we could say I right there. Ideally, if we're writing this code for somebody else, we're going to make it more meaningful than I, because I is not super descriptive. I tend to like to use a little bit more descriptive variable names in my for loops. And that should do it. So it says after we know how to do this, we're going to run our code, and then there's a next button over here, and then there's a back button over here, or previous, and we can look through all our possible ones. So here's shift 1, shift 2, shift 3, shift 4, shift 5. We found it on 5. Congratulations, you decrypted the message. You did it in no time at all. The message is clearly leading you somewhere else. Quick, on to the next page. And if we read the message, congratulations, seeker, you've passed the first test. Few ever find the path, and fewer still walk upon it. Look to in to continue your journey. Open sesame. So there's some clues in here as well. Let's remember open sesame and in. The message says look to in. Who or what is in? You glance around the library. Could be novels, notebooks, newspapers, Mr. Nefarian. The librarian is Mr. Nefarian. New releases, Nibbler, Mrs. Chin's Seeing Eye Dog. So there's several things that are in, and so you can investigate various things. We could say investigate. Can we investigate Nibbler? Doesn't look like we can. Can we investigate novels? Let's investigate novels and see what we get. Nothing unusual here. There's lots of glossy covers and expensive magazines. Better try somewhere else. Let's try newspapers. You don't find anything mysterious in a pile of newspapers on the table. Just a sticky candy wrapper. Let's try Nefarian. He's the librarian. Let's see what he comes up with. Oh, the librarian does seem suspicious. So he is a little suspicious. What kind of name is Mr. Nefarian anyway? It sounds like it came from a video game. It must be him. You walk to the reference desk. He eyes us suspiciously and says, yes, can I help you? Please, do you have an answer, you ask. He looks at you blankly. The answer to what? He replies. You're not sure what to do now. He must be in, but he doesn't seem to know anything. Maybe you're forgetting something about the message. The password. There was something that said open sesame at the very end. So let's try that as the password. Look at that. Looks at you sharply, first surprised and impressed. He reaches under the counter and hands you an envelope. Then with a glance over his shoulder, he walks back into the room, murmurs good luck. All right. So they said, we've finished this. Short, simple, lots of fun though. It says, congratulations on finishing Cipher. Now that you've proven yourself a substitution cipher savant, use the handy crypto program to encrypt and decrypt your own messages. This is kind of a fun thing. You can do this with your friends and set a shift that they need, and then you can encrypt and decrypt. So type anything you like into the top box. So do we need to run the code first? I can't remember. Oh, no, we can just type. So let's type, hello, I have completed this playground. Then we're going to enter a value in the shift. I'm just going to start with 1. So H becomes I, E becomes F, and already it's unreadable. Let's try Caesar's cipher. Pretty interesting. That's what Julius Caesar would have coded his messages like. Let's try, what if we do 25? And then, interestingly enough, if we shift 26, look, we're back at the beginning. So we really only ever need to shift 25. If we shift 0, same thing as 26. So this is kind of fun. Keep playing around with it. I hope you have enjoyed this. It's something a little different than the ones we've been doing where we're actually learning theories and applying them. It's one where we're actually just applying some things we've already learned. I like stuff like this. I'm going to try to kind of interject these throughout the various lessons that we do moving forward. But let me know if you liked this video versus maybe some of the others. Feel free to leave a comment, subscribe if you really like it. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks.